Hi, I'm Alan Olsen, here today on GROCO American Entrepreneur. Today we're here talking with Dennis Wolfe. Dennis is an insurance broker, healthcare claims consultant, and a radio personality across the United States. Dennis, thank you for coming here on the show.
Well, it's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
So Dennis, tell me, what got you in the business of the insurance, healthcare claims?
When I graduated from San Jose State, I had a degree in business with concentration in finance, accounting classes, and my minor was in bio and organic chemistry. I think I lived by the old adage of my times was my mom wanted me to be a doctor. So I took a lot of science classes, and I'm glad I did. It's helped me a lot in my life. But I looked at what I could do, and I thought of the four major areas where I could have gone into business on my own, because I always wanted to be my own boss. I could look at a banking, going in, starting as a teller and hopefully working my way up the ladder. I could go into stock market investment advising, I could go into real estate. And then finally the other avenue was insurance. So I looked at all of those. And of the four, I found that the insurance business offered the best potential for a future income cash flow. There's a one-word phrase that sums it up, and that is the word residuals.
What does a broker do?
Well, a broker is different than an agent. In the insurance business, an agent is a captive individual. That means, for example, State Farm. You can only sell State Farm's products. If you have a client who has a need for an insurance product that is not within the State Farm portfolio of products, that State Farm agent cannot write it. That's a captive agent. And typically an agent is someone who's captive. But farmers, of course, a little bit different. Those are captive agents. They exclusively market farmers, but they can broker other products if their company doesn't have it. As a broker, I have no allegiance to any company whatsoever. I am licensed through the state of California and other states in the country where I've become a non-residence broker, and my allegiance is to the client. And I think that's the way you should always have developed a business. It's important to always represent the client, not the carrier.
So what is happening in the healthcare industry today? You have this national healthcare plan, and these brokers are now kind of being hijacked by government plans. Am I saying that correctly?
No,
what exactly is going on?
There's a lot going on. You've got a convergence, if you will, of several factors. One, you've got the aging parents of baby boomers who are living longer, and they're now needing an extensive amount of care, so they're drawing down the system. You have the baby boomers who themselves, unfortunately, because of the fast food industry, and we're now seeing many types of complications in healthcare at younger ages, more heart attacks, more diabetes. Diabetes is pandemic in this country now, and the full cost of that problem is not going to be seen for another 10 or 15 years as baby boomers move into their 70s and 80s. And then you've got the parents again. And then you've got the kids who do not have access to healthcare insurance. So if they don't have coverage to pay for their care, they're getting into trouble. So you've got all that convergence of the demand for the system, and the system can't meet the demand.
Now, Dennis, you wrote a book called The Sick Solution.
Right.
What a visionary. You did this book not just recently, but a decade and a half ago.
I actually started the book. I remember the month that I did it. It was in the fall, the fall of the season was 1986.
Wow, two decades.
It's about 25 years ago, actually, yeah. Coming up on 25 years. And the subtitle of the book is actually more important than the title of the book. The subtitle of the book is A Prescription for National Health, not health care, but for health, because it was my contention then, and it's even more so now, that the direction we move towards resolving the reform of the cost delivery mechanisms in the healthcare system, not health care, is how we move forward as a country. So I saw that back in '86, and what I started doing was writing the book on the concepts of regionalizing the delivery of health care, with the primary payers being the local citizens themselves within their communities, and then having the government and having insurance companies actually taking a secondary and a tertiary position as payers, respectively. When you do that, you change the whole nomenclature. So with that in mind, I looked at where I could go, the next step in my evolution in my life and my business, and we're just getting ready to roll out healthcareclaimsconsulting.com. And what that website will have is the ability to give people access to a glossary of all the terminology they use. We'll take it from various sources. But more importantly, there's going to be pages in there, and I hesitate to talk too much about it on here. I don't want it copied, if you will.
Right.
But there'll be pages in there that will be resource pages. Where they'll go is a different issue. They'll be when the website is opened up. But it will be expansive, and it will be you can drill down into various components and drill down into various areas of the country to get care. We'll have people on board who can help consult and help clients when they have claims issues. I had one person come to me in St. Louis, Missouri, found me through the internet, and came to me and had problems with getting health insurance, and I was able to not only help him get a policy that protected him without pre-existing conditions limitations, and he's in St. Louis, Missouri, but I advised him what to do, how to get an agent back there, and I said, but fax me the application. I don't trust any other agents. Sorry, I don't.
Yeah.
Well, sure enough, he faxed it, and sure enough, that agent did not put down all of his health history, which would have created a contestable policy and ultimately a cancellation.
Yeah, you have to disclose all your health history.
You do if you're applying on an individual application, but there's ways to disclose it that's truthful, but you're not given such minutia detail that you've created red flags that really don't need to be there. You always want to be honest on that application. Rule number one: don't lie. But you don't need to be so detailed. The underwriter goes, "What have I got here? A hypochondriac?"
Right.
So so I drafted a letter which detailed everything that was not on the application. He sent it in, and the carrier denied him. He appealed it, and they reviewed the letter, reviewed everything, but the letter is structured in such a way that they ultimately issued the policy. And this is a very large national carrier with credibility and financial stability, and he's just thrilled. And you know, if we could do that around the country and help people, imagine what we could do to get people on the right track. So that's what the website's going to do. It's going to allow people to track claims, determine if there's any fraud in the expenses that are being submitted.
Is there fraud?
Medicare, I believe, last year had $70 billion in Medicare fraud payments.
Really?
And I have my wife.
Who got that money?
Doctors or facilities that abuse the system, overbill. For example, my wife was in the emergency on January 2nd with a stroke. She survived it. She's doing really well. And the bills for her stay in the hospital alone for 21 days were $353,000. Now that's going to get billed through Medicare because she's over 65.
Yeah.
And I suspect the disallowed amount will be somewhere around 250 to maybe 280 or 300,000. They'll probably only pay 50 to 60,000 on that.
Why do they call it health care? Does anyone really care? Or is it just
who
like
cares?
Health?
Yeah, just health.
Health.
Maybe we just say we're just rendering care.
Health.
How about we render care?
Yeah.
Well, it's a dilemma.
Yeah.
So over the years, I've been very blessed. I've had large corporate clients. I have a lot of smaller individual clients and groups, and I enjoy what I do. It's a blast in one sense because you know you're really helping people. And I've lived by one rule in 35 years, and I've never violated it, and it's done well for me. And that is every morning when I wake up, I'm not thinking about, oh, what problem I had created for a client. Right. If you dot the I's and cross the T's right and plan ahead, then you have a large amount of trust with your clients and you build a large business. But it's all built, and it's all built on that consistent growing clientele. I think that if there's one thing that I'd really like to highlight, since we're talking about entrepreneurship and closing out my comments here, is that you have to not give up your dream.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter where you came from. My parents had nothing. I had cardboard for patches in my shoes. I worked hard. I figured it was going to be up to me. And you have to believe in yourself. Yeah. People miss that. It's not about what you make either. I mean, I know people that are extremely wealthy. I have clients that are just worth lots of money. They're not always happy, but they're driven to work hard and they make good money and they can do certain things, but happiness is within. Have you achieved what you wanted to do in life? Are you helping people? And if you do that, then it's okay to dream. And that's what entrepreneurship is all about. Never give up your dreams.
I can see why you're a great entrepreneur. Thank you, Dennis, for being here today. Appreciate it. Thank you.